on the computer.
Hey, girl, hey.
We're recording now, and let's go live. All right, we are live, honey.
Hey. How are
Hello,
you doing
everyone.
today?
I am giving you all a very fast surprise live to talk a little bit about immigration law and this election. So, excuse the impromptu-ness. Sorry,
These
I
are the
just put
best
it out
ones.
before that I was doing it. um, but I wanted to come out and just speak to everyone because there's so much happening in immigration law right now. And we're in the middle of an election. We're in the middle of voting. We have so many people who have voted all over the country. And I just needed to come out to, I know I do a lot of posting, but I've been intending to come out and just give a little bit of talk for on issues that you don't really hear people talk a lot about. And I know we talk about immigration generally, but the impact of this election on those who need immigration benefits is very, very important. And I really just wanted to come out and give a little talk. And I have my sister, Johanne
Hey,
Foster,
Fatmata.
with me. Um, she and I went to law school together. So we've known each other now for over 20 years. Um, she is,
Since preschool.
yeah, preschool. So we have been friends, more than friends, forever from the time we met in law school, even though she thought I don't like her. Um,
You didn't.
yes, I did. Yes, I did. And we've been friends ever since. And it's a beautiful friendship. That's more like a sisterhood, more than a friendship. So, um, Joanne, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joanne Foster,
Very,
Fatmata's sister from
very,
another mister.
very smart. Like, and I say smart, I mean smart. This is the woman who, it's not like now where you have all these Facebook Live things. And this is the woman that would forget to go to class. And I have to leave class to go to the library and send her a chat message and say, where are you? Class has started. And
They're
she'll be
taking attendance.
oh my God. I'm like, yeah, they're taking names and they're in law school, they have the pictures. So they're like, I'm like, they're about to get to your side of the room, my dear, before you see chick running in, hair wet, and hey, here I am. And guess what, folks? She passed the bar exam the very first time. This chick is smart. But anyway, I just want to put that little joke in there, a little
And we
tip.
won't talk about how I fell asleep during the bar exam.
There you go. She fell asleep during the bar exam. This is how smart this woman is, like smart, and knows her stuff. So, but I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what's happening in immigration. So for some of you, you may already know, I posted a while ago about the immigration law, the immigration fees going up. And thankfully, an injunction was filed and it was granted on
Oh,
the
good.
basis, this is the thing, right? On the basis that the director of DHS was not appointed and confirmed by Congress, because this dude in the White House on a regular basis just puts people in there temporarily.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So he
Yeah,
just
it's
puts people in there
ridiculous.
temporarily. It's crazy. So that's what he did. And so when this guy in here now as DHS director is then he made all these policies, including raising the fees, some by 80%. It was just crazy. And people are rushing, trying to get things done. So an injunction was granted. We don't know how long because he's going through the process. He's going to go through the process now to finally be confirmed by the Senate. So once that happened, he may just go back and, reinstitute
Mm-hmm.
the fees again. So I wanted to talk to people to let them know that although that injunction is in place, it can change at any time. At any time. So don't sit on your hands. Do not wait and think that, the fees are not going to go up. It stopped. No, it has not really stopped, because people this administration is determined to end immigration,
Which
especially
is ridiculous. Well, immigration of a certain group of people,
black and brown,
certain groups of people. Yes, yes,
black and
yes.
brown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I say all that just to give people an idea. And right now, we have new fees that have gone up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this one is the expedited fees. So these are for expedited fees. So they've raised it up from, like, I think it was 1,400 to now $2,500.
But if there's already an injunction in place, you're saying that they thought to themselves, well, we'll just go ahead and just do the expedited fees, even though the injunction in place was because he didn't have the authority to raise the first set of fees. Let me go and try and raise these expedited fees. This is
Yes,
the mindset of this administration.
yes,
Oh, just checking.
yeah.
Just
That's
checking.
basically it.
Got
That's
it.
it. Yep. So that's what they're doing. That's what they've
Mm.
done. And not sure what's going to happen, because they issued it out on the 16th, 2 days ago, and it goes in effect tomorrow, unfortunately. So
So there's
there
no
wasn't time
notice.
for us to really do much. So, you know, I posted it up a couple of days ago when they sent it out. But I wanted to just talk to people so people can understand the importance of what's happening right now. So people can understand the importance of where we are. So people on my page know I'm from Sierra Leone. Joanne, can you tell them your background?
And I'm of Haitian descent. My parents are both Haitian and first generation American born here.
So you're looking at two people who are the poster child of the immigration attacks
Yeah.
in the US
Hmm.
by this administration. So we are
We're
the two,
also the poster children of the success of the immigration policies prior to this administration.
exactly.
Uh, we are the hopes and dreams of literally our parents. We're those success stories, and they're trying to stop those success stories from continuing. I'm not sure why. It's crazy.
Well, we know that this we know that this man came into office saying
Hmm.
what he said coming down that escalator,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we know that even after all that, what did he say? He said he doesn't mind immigration, but why can't they come from places like Norway,
yeah. Instead
right?
of shithole countries like Haiti and African nations, but okay.
Okay. So there's nothing about this administration that's friendly to immigration, even though, even though immigrants in this country add so much. The
Mhm,
GDP that comes into this country because of immigrants is astronomical. You
mhm.
know, I tend to go into numbers. So I'm gonna try to not be all numbery
Factual.
and factual and just have a
Because
discussion.
ultimately, matter facts don't matter. You know, at the end of the day, facts absolutely they don't matter. What we have to focus on is really getting to people emotionally and getting to speak to them to their heart. Because the GOP, I've been saying this, they are genius at that. They
Mhm,
speak to their emotions. They speak to their true feelings,
mhm,
and we keep spewing numbers, statistics, and
mhm.
those numbers mean nothing to anyone.
Yeah,
If they
yeah,
did, we wouldn't be here right now. If
yeah,
numbers mattered, if facts mattered, we wouldn't be here.
yeah, yeah. Um, so know this, people. So we know that many, at least from the African community, who have their own independent businesses. Um, we know many Africans who go to school and pay for their own tuition.
Hmm.
They don't get, you know, they don't ask for anyone to pay for their fees for them. I went through entire undergrad without owing anyone any money coming out. I took out short-term loans in undergrad, paid it off by the end of the semester, worked, parents worked their off to get us through.
Butts
Um,
off. I'll say it for you.
I know, right?
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, we are where we are because people worked hard for us to get here. And
Hmm.
it wasn't easy. So imagine, I've told the story many times, right? That I would have been considered a dreamer, and there are many like me back then who would have been considered a dreamer in
Hmm.
today's world. And what we had to go through to 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 push ourselves and get ourselves to where we are today. And what this administration wants to do is basically pull the rug from under all these young people who are contributing to this nation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Pull the rug out from under them and say, even though you know nothing about the nation in which you were born, you need to go back there.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. And we know many of our homes, our immigrant homes, are mixed status homes, very
Hmm.
mixed status homes. You have citizen children, parents who are not or
Hmm.
undocumented. You have
Hmm.
brothers and sisters who are undocumented or permanent residents. So it's very mixed. So when some of us who are immigrants, and I'm not going to try to lecture anyone, and don't take it as a lecture, I just want you to understand when you look at this administration and you think to yourself that they have my values, stop and
Yeah.
think. Do those values include kicking out a member of your family out of your home? Do those
Hmm.
values include stopping you from bringing your mother to come help you raise your child that you just had
Hmm.
because you have to go to work? Do those values include not having your child here with you, not having your child here with you and having somebody else raise your child in your
It's
home?
interesting that the party of family values has no issue with breaking up families. They have no issue with separating American born children from their non American born family members, particularly parents, because they have no issue with deporting a non American parent in a heartbeat and leaving the American born child or children in limbo to be raised where. People should be with their parents. And if their parents were here, it's not acceptable that, they'll be placed in foster care in America or sent to a country they know nothing about. And oftentimes, let me go off on a tangent just for a little bit. Our international policy in this country, we have a habit of going into other people's countries and messing things up and destroying economies and governments that were once stable and leaving behind these puppet governments. And that's who a lot of people are running from when they come to the United States, unfortunately, because there's this picture painted that we're this the land of milk and honey and all these wonderful things, the greatest nation in the world. Sometimes that rhetoric is putting people from the day they come out of the womb in their home country, and they're fighting from day one to get here, all because America went into their country and messed things up. And now we're telling those same people, yes, I've destroyed your country, destroyed your economy, put in a puppet government that's doing our will, but we're not going to allow you to come here for a better life. Make that make sense. We mess it up, but we're not going to help you enjoy some type of prosperity or stability. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense to me. But here we are. This is what we have.
And that's our reality, right?
Yeah.
That's our reality. And sometimes as I work in immigration law, as I work within the immigrant community to do advocacy, some of the narrative is people think that what's happening does not impact them because the headlines are children are being separated at the border. Well, I'm not at the border. I'm not at the border. So it doesn't affect me. But I want people to know, as an African immigrant who works within the African immigrant community, do you know how many Africans are coming through the border? Not the plane, the border. There are many coming through the border to come into this country because it's so hard to get a visa. They will fly into where they could fly into.
Yep. Yep.
And then they pay smugglers like everybody else does to come through the Mexican border.
Yep.
To come into this country. There are many. It's not one, it's not two, it's not three. There are many. And it is a hard road to travel. I say this so people can understand. When Trump was running for office initially, I used to post things telling people that seem to only don't want to be concerned because it doesn't affect them. And I used to always say, today is mine and it's me and mine. Tomorrow it could be you and yours. What affects one eventually affects all of us. And being in this pandemic shows you, right? So the people who are being affected with this COVID may not be up from your community. You may not even know anyone. But think about the general effect. Let's not even go to the fact that people are losing their lives and in the hospital, but think about the effect it's having on your daily life. You can't go where you want to go to whenever you want to go to. You can't walk outside without somebody looking at you funny if you don't have a mask on your face.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
They better be looking at you funny.
You
put your mask on, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
Masks save lives.
Save lives. You can't go to a club. You can't go to a restaurant as easy as you used to. So all those things compile shows you the interconnectivity of us all.
Yeah.
And what happens to this one at some point is going to hit you. So I say all that to say, even if you think the immigration policies that are in place may not affect you, realize that they do. Because here's why. These people that are being deported are doing the work that you won't do. And it doesn't matter what people think. You're not going to do that back-breaking work.
No, absolutely not.
Let's be realistic. You are not going to do that back-breaking work. And you know what happens at the end of the day? They had entire meat, chicken factories or whatnot where they raided. Do you know what the owners said after they raided and they couldn't find people to work?
Sure couldn't.
They put it out. They even, I mean, and this is sad, but they even raised the hourly rate, like double what they were paying immigrants to do the work.
And couldn't get people to do the work.
They got people for 2 weeks max, and they didn't come back to work. Why? It's hard work. It's a lot of work.
Same for the agriculture industry. Anything related to farming, we have people coming in and doing this backbreaking, horrible work out in the sun, sun up, sun down. And also, you need the skills to do certain jobs and to do certain work that we are not training our folks to do.
Mm-mm.
We are not trained to do in the United States because it's just not stuff that we do. We have an expectation of, a certain element of folks that are going to come in and do it, and they do it. But we don't think about the immigration implications. We don't think about what it takes for them to do the work, the shortcuts that are taken to allow them to
Mm-hmm.
be in these fields and do this work. We don't think about any of those things and
Mm-mm.
how that affects us because our food prices reflect the income that we pay these people or the lack thereof that we pay these people. So the fact that we pay them next to nothing allows our food prices to be super duper cheap. But these are highly skilled people that we can't get Americans to do this work. And when they do come in, they're not picking crops properly. They're not doing things properly. And whole crops are being destroyed because things are getting messed up. I remember hearing about this one time on NPR, when they had Alabama implemented their own state immigration laws that scared the hell out of a lot of people, and they just fled and left, and they were left with no one to do to pick the crops for that particular year, and
Wow.
it was a disaster for their agricultural industry in Alabama that year. And all of a sudden, we don't hear about this being an issue anymore in that particular state.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they saw the effects, they saw it quickly. But as a nation, we are going to really, really feel it if we allow someone like Trump to be in office for another 4 years and
Mm-hmm.
allow him to implement his immigration desires, because there's not going to be anything holding him back this time around from just completely ripping through all the policies that have been in place, destroying them all, and allowing whomever to come in, get appointed, get approved by the Senate, and implement all of his crazy policies. There's nothing stopping him at this point. So
Nothing at
we've
all.
got to stop him.
That's right. And nothing will, and Joanna's right. Nothing will stop him. And I want people to keep in mind um, that it is not, as they've said, illegal immigration. It's not. Okay? Because if it was about quote unquote illegal immigration, guess what? They would not make it so hard for you to go through the legal process of
Hmm.
filing. Like they were literally stopping, arresting, detaining people when they go for interviews.
Hmm.
So you're going through the legal process.
Yeah.
You're doing what you're supposed to do. You've spent thousands of dollars to file this paperwork. I posted a couple of clients' paperwork on Facebook not too long ago, just so people can see how thick the packets can be.
Yep. I
Right?
remember that. Hmm.
Right? So you can get an idea. And that thick thing, people have spent thousands of dollars and hours and time. And some people don't have these paperwork sitting around. They have to try to get them from home and
Hmm.
all kind of whatever to try to get the things they need. And this is my point. At the end of the day, if I do everything right, I show up for my interview on time and you detain me, are you really trying to have legal immigration or are you just trying to not have immigration,
Of
period,
a certain element of people.
of a certain element of people?
Hmm.
That's it.
I mean,
So,
they've often said and continually say that they're afraid of having a minority majority country. I mean, this has been espoused by them over and over and over and over again. So, if that is their issue, um, and I believe that's their issue. Every policy in place right now is geared towards stopping what they believe is going to be an affront to their power, to their continued power, to their continued supremacy or their belief of supremacy in this country. So, I mean, uh, it starts right now. It starts with this election. It should have started much long before this, but we have an opportunity now to stop what we see coming. It is right there in front of us. The policies are right there in front of us in every speech that he makes, in fees that are increasing with little to no notice. all that we all that we have in our hands right now is November 3rd, or actually right now if you have early voting in your area. So everyone who's early voting, the power is in your hands right now to stop all of this madness, or at least slow it down considerably. Let's
Mm-hmm.
put it like that, because we still have until January 20th to get
Mm-hmm.
this man out of office and
Mm-hmm.
for his policies to no longer be implemented, because he has until then to
Mm-hmm.
wreak whatever havoc he wants to wreak. But
Mm-hmm.
for right now, November 3rd, we have up until that date to vote to say, we don't want you here. We don't want you wreaking this havoc. And we don't want you in office implementing any of this crap anymore.
Right.
So that's the power that we have in our hands as of right now.
Yep. And I would ask people who look at maybe not him per se, but the what the Republican Party is supposed to represent, because I find some of us are
Mhm.
looking at what the party is supposed to represent as opposed to the actual policies that are actually in place or
Mhm.
are being
Mhm.
put in place. So there's one hand where there's a definition of what conservatism is and what the Republican Party is supposed to be ideologically and what it actually is right now and
Mhm.
what is actually being done right now. At least as the subject matter right here, right now, is immigration and this election. I'm not talking about all these other issues. I'm talking about this. And you may say the party represents, because I know for many of us who are African immigrants, Joanne, you can speak to, you know, the Haitian community who are pro-life,
Mhm.
right? Because we're a religious group of people.
Absolutely.
I'm Muslim, very conservative religion, right? But I think sometimes we miss the fact that the people they're harming right now, the children, they are alive and well.
Mhm.
They're alive, but they are hurting them. So, how do you marry the two? How do you say they're for life, but yet they're allowing children to sleep where they're sleeping, some becoming terminally ill,
Mhm.
losing their lives, some women being forcibly,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I mean,
The hysterectomies that happened in that Georgia detention center
come on,
is absolutely appalling. And
appalling.
and and to think that this was done by a doctor of immigrant descent himself, and he looked at these women as less than and said to himself, "This is appropriate behavior as a doctor. Let me go on ahead and sterilize these women." Excuse me,
And it's
excuse
all
me,
types of
sir.
women, all
Oh
types of
yeah.
women, Black, African, Caribbean,
Mm-hmm.
Latinas, all of
Mm-hmm.
them. It's all types.
Yep.
So, you know, I think we need to come to the realization, to the mindset that there's more that we have to fight together
Mm-hmm.
than this. You know, this is their issue, this is their issue, that's their issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now it's make or break time. We have
We are all in this
12
mess
days.
together.
How many days do we have left, Joanne?
I think it's like 17.
Something like that. So we don't have that much time. And nobody is asking anyone
Let
to
me look
give
at my
up
phone.
their belief system, because nobody can tell me to give up my belief system. I'll look at you like you're
Mm-hmm.
crazy, right? However, we have to work within the system we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And we make a mistake when we do this false equivalency between this dude in the White House and Biden running for office. There's a false equivalency. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. There's no such thing
No.
as a perfect person. None of us are perfect. We all have issues. We all have things that we may not, people in our lives may not agree with.
True.
All of us. But here's the thing, we have two choices. Two. There's no third choice, no realistic third choice. We have two choices. We can stick with the one who has said, not once, not twice,
Mhm.
not three times, the one who on a regular basis refuses to denounce white supremacy,
Okay.
the one who has told openly
Mhm.
racist white supremacist groups to what? Stand, what is it? Stand
Stand back.
and
Whatever it is he said, it was basically hold on,
hold on,
you
wait for
know,
my command. Because
wait
that's
for my command, basically.
literally what they said. The Proud Boys said, they read him as saying, wait for my command, and they said,
Mhm.
we're waiting. The same man who said that the Nazis are good people.
Mm.
Okay? This is the same man. I need people to understand that the reality we live in right now is we have
Stand back, stand by.
stand back, stand back. Now, Biden's immigration policy, as it's written right now, the intention is to end the prolonged detention and reinvest in case management programming, um, put in humanitarian resources at the border. So I'm pulled this up just so I can end mismanagement of asylum system. So there are a lot of people right now who are trying to file for asylum, and it's so upside down.
Oh, that's been upside down for decades, though. For
Ever, I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
forever.
yeah. But trust me, Joanne, it's worse
I
because
can imagine.
number one, they did not replace people like staff. So it's
Hmm.
not just the asylum, it's the entire system. They
Hmm.
literally had to move because there are regional offices where you send your applications, and
Right.
they had to do a juggle because they didn't have enough people here, they didn't have enough people there, and processing was not going to go through here. So they had to shuffle. So people who may have been coming out to VA now have to go to this other place. That kind of stuff
Mm.
is what's been
Yeah.
happening since he's
Yeah.
been in office. Okay. Um,
So basically, a mess.
a mess, basically a mess, and reverse the public charge rule, right? And that's big. So the public charge rule is basically another way to prevent legal immigration.
Hmm.
Because think about it. If you're somebody who is applying for immigration benefits, the chances that you can prove that
Mm.
you have enough money to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, you already have the I-864 that whoever is sponsoring you has to do
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
that they can take care of you if anything. That's
Hmm.
always been more than enough. But no, they've decided they're going to add another form. Yes. So there's so much going on. Um, and we have our dreamers that will be protected. And people need to come to the realization. We have TPS, we have DED for Liberians. We have so much that needs to be revisited.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
minimum, the Biden administration is looking to do that. This one is working as hard as they can to dismantle all that.
All of it,
And
which is
right
going to
now,
cause a disaster.
yes, and right now, Liberians can file to get a residency. They can file, but guess what? It ends in December.
Hmm.
And for the last year that people have been filing, they are not getting responses. So when December comes,
Surprise, surprise.
it's finished.
Yeah.
Like the application deadline is reached. Even though people are filing, they're really not, the percentage of people getting their stuff is so low. It's
Hmm.
right now, the great advocates pushing. There's organization called ACT, African Communities Together. Give a shout out to them because they're doing so much. And look it up, African Communities Together. They are doing a lot, and they're really
Mhm.
working hard to try to get this thing looked at again, to maybe extend it,
Mhm.
because they're not getting. And then when COVID hit, it became even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. COVID put a wrench in a lot of things. So much, so much.
So all this is to ask my able people out here to be cognizant of the fact that we have a lot going on and we have a lot to lose in this election. Besides the biggest thing, which is our lives with this COVID,
Mhm.
because that's the biggest, right? Our
Yeah,
lives.
absolutely.
We have our lives to lose. We've lost loved ones. Some of us have lost
Mhm.
loved ones,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's the feeling is in when you know it could have been avoided.
Avoidable. Yeah.
The anger you feel is palpable.
Mhm.
It's but it's
What
like
are we
when
up
you
to now? 217 lives lost, something like that.
217,000 lives. I mean, when you know it's something that could have been avoidable, and this person did nothing, nothing, and still doing nothing. In fact, the opposite.
Actually, it's worse than that. He's actually giving false information. He's lying about certain aspects of what should and shouldn't happen. Uh, it's a wreck. He suppressed information on purpose, knowing that the situation was going to get terrible. He was fully aware and didn't care because he
Mhm.
didn't want to cause a panic. I mean, what do you think we have now?
Huge panic. Life as we know it has come to a screeching halt.
Big time.
Like,
Big
I mean,
time.
the things you would have done on a Saturday night,
Not happening.
not
Not
happening.
happening.
Not happening.
And if they are happening, everybody in that building is getting sick.
Very sick. So this was just to um, talk to everyone so you can understand what's happening. If you're a Liberian and you want to find out some more information about the application process, let me know. Um, but as far as the advocacy part, Africans communities together are doing are really working hard to advocate for the extension of this. And there are other groups, but ACT are the ones that I'm more closely linked to. And Undocu Black is another organization that's doing a lot of good work. So if anyone is interested in advocating for some of these immigration issues that we have coming up, that we see happening, or you have pertinent issues that you think should be addressed, on DocuBlack Act are really good. Um, and I've done some work with CASA in the past. I haven't done as much lately, but so these are organizations that you can reach out to sort of help you out, to give you some ideas of what steps you can take if you're looking for advocacy work. You can also reach out to me because I work with certain groups and organizations to get things done. Um, of course, as an immigration attorney, I'm here to assist folks if they need it, if they need the help, and if they need questions answered. But this election is critical as far as immigration is concerned. It's very, very critical. And the administration we have right now does not want any sort of immigration, not even legal immigration. So for some of us who have, we think, made it because we have our papers,
Hmm.
realize that others had to come before us and make the changes that were necessary
Mm-hmm.
us to be able to get our papers.
Yep.
So
We
don't make
have
it
to work to keep the
harder.
door open for
Yes,
those behind us
yes.
to make
So
sure that people can come in after us
so
and
please,
continue.
please, you've got yours. Don't close the door.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Or
close the
allow the door to be closed.
or
We
don't
got to
allow
hold it open.
exactly.
Put a wedge in, put your
Yes.
foot in the door, but don't let it close by itself doing nothing. I mean, a lot of the talk right now that we hear about immigration in the media has been around the Latino community, but immigration looks like Fatmata. It looks like me. The face of immigration are Black folks as well, coming from Africa, coming from the Caribbean, coming from South America. I mean, Latinos come in all colors as well. We have an Afro Latinx community that sometimes gets swept up and forgotten about in this whole immigration discussion. So when we're looking at the face of immigration, let's not let's not automatically center the Latino community, because know that it is people that look like us and people who come from our countries that also suffer from the same issues and also enjoy the benefits of everything we hear about. There are Black dreamers, there are African dreamers, there are Caribbean dreamers, there are Afro Latino dreamers. And those people are often forgotten in the mix of all of this discussion around immigration. So let's be cognizant of that too when we're thinking about immigration and the various immigration issues and the policies that are being set forth. Let's not ignore it just because it's them. It's all of us.
Hmm.
All of us.
Hmm. Every single one of us. And
Hmm.
that's where we have to come from. That's where we have to come from. Otherwise, we're not going to progress. We're not going to make it. Um, for many of us, it was very hard, right, to get
Hmm.
go through the immigration process. I came here at the age of 11. I did not get my green card until almost starting law school. That's a long time.
Hmm.
That's a long time. Does that mean that the person coming after me also needs to suffer? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that. They don't need to go through what my family went through. They
Hmm.
really don't. They don't need to learn the suffering that I did. They don't need to get in line because I hear that. People need to get in line. In line for what? There's no line.
Hmm.
There's no line. It's an imaginary line. That is just talking points. There's no line.
Hmm.
They've been feeding you lines.
Hmm. Yeah,
There's no real line.
those
Seriously.
talking points are imaginary because they let in who they want to let in when they want to let them in. Period. Point blank. I mean, the system is set up to allow whoever they're prepared to let in. I mean, we don't. It's crazy to me that we're going to sit here and allow ourselves to believe that because there's a certain um, we're not giving people certain dignities of being full citizens or fully participating in this country for arbitrary reasons. I mean, the arbitrary reasons just don't make sense. Whatever line and they've created in their mind or in their talking point has no basis in reality, because a lot of those people are contributing members of this society, tax-paying members of this society, sending their kids to school, law-abiding citizens,
Mhm.
and but for a piece of paper, their life is in limbo and in jeopardy. So we have to do better to re-educate ourselves about this line of thinking. We have to do better about advocating for people in our community, and a lot of us have to reevaluate how we feel about this immigration policy as well, because I think that there may be quite a few people in our communities who look like us, who are born here, raised here, who say, you know what, this immigration thing, maybe we do have too many immigrants. Maybe we do have too many people in our communities. We have to reevaluate that on a whole, because all of these people deserve the dignity of of having stability in their lives. I mean, they're in our communities, they're in our schools, they're sitting next to us, on the trains, they're going to work with us. We have to give these people the benefit of the dignity of having, the full enjoyment of being citizens or residents of this country.
Completely agree. And I think that's a major issue and concern, because I think what you just said is really, I think, part of what's happening and what has happened. And it's unfortunate because I don't think people realize that the benefits they're enjoying is because somebody else worked and advocated and fought for those benefits to be available to you to get. And I think until some of us really become aware of that and internalize that fact,
Hmm.
it's going to be hard to switch off that thing that says, I had to fight to get mine, so you need to fight to get yours.
Hmm.
But that's not really how life should work, right?
Right.
Really how life should work. Appreciate and acknowledge what you had to do to get there, but that doesn't mean you need to make it harder for somebody else coming in behind you. Like Joanne said, keep the door open. Don't let the door lock. Don't let somebody else shut it out if you can help it.
Hmm.
Um, so this talk was um, just came up, and because there's so much talk about this election, and you don't really hear some of the topics. So we may be back with some other topics, individual topics between now and election day that are pertinent to some of us. And if there's any topic that you think we should address, put it in the comment section, and we will look at having that kind of a discussion and bring it forward to you guys. Any questions? I promise to do better. Maybe next time we may give a heads up. Maybe next time we'll give a heads up and let people know we're coming on. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask the questions, and we'll do our very, very best to answer them. But there are many topics out there that I think we need to cover, but we wanted to cover subject matters individually. And maybe next time we will still bring you some immigration, but it may be a different topic. But we'll let you guys know. But it's going to be much faster because election day is around the corner. So Joanne, thank you so much for coming on with me. I
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks
appreciate
for inviting me.
because otherwise I'd have been doing a monologue, and it's not fun doing a monologue. It's really not that
Now
much.
we enjoy that too, though, so it's okay.
I've done those,
Hmm.
but I like the conversation. Don't you guys think conversation is better? I think the conversation is better. What I mean, I think of saying right the second that later I'll be like, oh, I should have said. She, she makes it up.
Conversation is good. It's a back and forth. We can throw things back and forth to each other, so it's cool.
So good. So thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll be back next time, probably in a few days. Right, Joe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll see you
We'll
guys.
get it together. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. See you guys again later. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And everybody have a very good night.
Good night. Have a great week.
Bye bye.